Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPED.com. I am Stevie B. Happy to have you all with us today. Let's take a big sip to get this one started. Guys, this is a very special video. I have taken a break from Summer Migration 2023. I've come back to Next Island because A, I need to make a video for the Community Recognition Program 2023 for the month of July, for July's entry. But also because this is the first in a series of videos that I am going to be starting. The Planet Partners on Next Island have done an amazing job over the past couple of years. You've heard me say that over and over again. They've done a great job with in-game content and new items and creating demand, and thereby creating markup and repurposing stuff that previously had no demand and no markup. And they've really brought Next Island back from being a dead planet to being a thriving metropolis. And I want to give them credit where credit is due. So moving forward, I have an entire series of videos. This is going to be the first one in this series that are going to be under their own playlist here on the YouTube channel. So Next Island is going to have its own playlist specifically for videos that are very, very important to Next Island. And I'm also going to be doing this for Cyrene, Arcadia, Tulun, Monria, DSEC 9, because a lot of the Planet Partners are taking their lead from Next Island. Next Island is really being the leadership for the Planet Partners, and they're taking their cues from the Next Island development team. They're starting to make so many great improvements. There's so much content I need to make on so many other places. I feel that the best thing I can do for you guys is to organize it all planet by planet, planet partner by planet partner. That way everybody gets the information they need to play smarter, not harder, but also that way the Planet Partners get the recognition that they deserve for putting in all the hard work to make the game that we love so much better than it has been. And I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to be doing this. I also have a series of videos that will be in a similar vein. It's going to have its own playlist, and it's going to be designed for new players, free-to-play players, low depot players, what to do if you're just getting started in Entropia Universe, and how to go from a brand new player day one all the way through to Uber. So I'm very, very excited about all that's going on, but let's get right into today's video. We're here on Next Island. We're at Sypherton Gardens. So the teleporter is over here. Sypherton Gardens. I call it Sypherton myself. I guess it's Sypherton. Anyway, this is the teleporter. If we pull up our map, we are right here at approximately longitude 133364, latitude 94087. That's approximately where we are. Can't really miss it. We're kind of up on a mountain. If we go over to the side of the mountain here, you can see that we're quite a ways up. It's quite a big drop going all the way down. And the person we're going to want to speak to today is Regina. Now, Regina is this NPC over here at the corner of the building, and she's going to give us some very important weekly missions. Now, these are not daily missions. These are weekly missions that are repeatable every 7 days or / every 168 hours. So we're going to talk to Regina, and she's giving us a mission for the EIR MK1 Blueprint Limited, the EIR MK2 and 3 Blueprints Limited, and notice the value is 0.15 each. So we're going to select a dialogue. Let's go with the EIR MK1 first. Hello, useless flesh sack. What do you want from the New Elysian Order? Are you here to beg for work like the rest? I guess so. Well, we do have some pesky pests that need eradication from the lands of the Blessed Order. Dispose 2,000 of them for me, and I will deign to pass on some small papers on some healing devices we've discarded. Thank you for the work, great wise master. Quote unquote, stupid neo jerk. So that gets me the EIR MK1 blueprint mission, which is to kill 2,000 Chimera. Now we're going to be talking about that more in depth here in a moment, but let's go through the dialogues for the EIR MK2 and the EIR MK3 real quick, because you want to get all three of these missions at the exact same time. Since it's weekly missions that reset every 7 days, you want to have all three of them active from the get-go if you can. There's no reason not to. Hello, useless flesh sack. What do you want from the New Elysian Order? You're here to beg for work like the rest? I guess so. Well, we do have some pesky pests. It's literally the exact same thing that we just read through. Dispose of 3,000 of them for me, and I will pass on some small papers and some healing devices that we've discarded. Thank you for the work, Great Wise Master, Stupid Neo Jerk. And bam, we get the mission for the EIR MK2 Blueprint Limited, which is kill 3,000 Sterpoes, however you pronounce that. And then let's get the dialogue for the EIR MK3 Blueprint Limited, 0.15 value. Hello, useless flesh sack. So it's the exact same dialogue again. What do you want from the new Elysian Order? You're here to beg for work like the rest, I guess so. Okay, dispose of 5,000 this time, and I will give you some small papers. Great. And this time we have to kill 5,000 Centaur. So there's 3 different missions. Like I said, these are weekly missions, repeatable every 7 days. First one is kill 2,000 Chimera. Second is kill 3,000 Sterpoes, however you pronounce it. And the third is kill 5,000 Centaur. Now, notice that this is not a mission that gets you the EIR MK1 or MK2 or MK3. It gets you the Blueprint Limited value 0.15. So a limited blueprint, in other words, a blueprint that's only good for a certain number of clicks and then it's gone, but it's worth 15 clicks, so 15 attempts. Now, what's important about that is that means that it's stackable. So if you do these missions repetitively every single week, you can stack the reward 15 clicks at a time. So you can end up, if you were to do it 4 weeks in a row, you would have 4 blueprints worth 15 clicks each. So you've got 60 total clicks. And that's good if you're going to be doing a large crafting run, wanting to make a considerable number of these at once because of the way crafting works. Now, let's put these missions over here for a second, because we'll talk more about this in a second. And I want to look specifically at the blueprint first. So this is the blueprint for the EIR MK1. So if we were to go out and kill 2,000 Chimera, this is the blueprint we would get. It's a tool blueprint. It uses tool engineer, and then you've got the inputs that would be needed right here: 500 Danburite crystal, 30 lesser Elysia, 30 crystalline core, 1 vortel, 30 refined swordstone. Good, that's all great and dandy. But then what happens if we actually craft this blueprint? What happens if we go through, kill 2,000 Chimera, get the blueprint, and actually go through 15 crafting attempts? What do we end up with? Well, that's where the important part comes in, and that's where I cannot speak highly enough of how much the Next Island development team has done here. The end item that you would be creating would be the default EIR MK1 Limited, a FAP, a healing device, a fast aid pack. And yes, FAP does stand for something. It stands for fast aid pack. Not first aid pack, fast aid pack. So what is so great about these healing devices? What is so great about these FAPs? Well, let's look at the stats. Paramedic, recommended level 25, learning period 25 to 35. Paramedic is notoriously hard to skill, especially now, and it has only gotten harder over time to grow your paramedic skills. We'll talk about paramedic as a profession in a completely separate video later on, but it is incredibly, incredibly hard to grow your paramedic skills. And finding a decent set of FAPs in-game can be very, very difficult because it's just an area that has always been problematic. There's the basic FAP you get when you start. You can get the S10 by running the first instance available at Camp Icarus, which we'll put in one of the videos for all the beginners out there who are just getting started. But then after that, where do you go? I use my Vivo S10 for almost 4 years, about 3.5, and I just used it religiously. And I very, very rarely, if ever, FAP because I have lifesteal. So fapping was just never big for me, so my paramedic never really grew. It's always lagged tremendously. And only, about a year or two ago did I even switch to a different FAP, and even that's not great. Even it needs to be upgraded, and there will be a different video on that. But where the Next Island development team really has shined is with this line of EIR MK FAPs. Because when we look at the stats, they've got great skill increase periods, 10 levels from 25 to 35. So if you're a low mid-level player, I guess mid-level starts at level 50, but for fapping I'm going to start at lower. For fapping I would say mid-level starts at like level 20. So if you're a low mid-level player with fapping skills in the 25 range, that's just on the lower end of what you need to be able to use this FAP during its SIB period. But what's really cool about this FAP is not only does it have a heal interval of 37.5 to 50, which is a pretty okay heal interval for people with higher HP, let's say 150 to 200, but on top of that, you've got your 30 uses a minute, so you can use it every 2 seconds. But look at this buff. This is the part where the next island development team really did something special here. Increased reload speed by 10% for 8 seconds. Now this is where I have to give my hats off to the next island development team. Not only did they say we need to make a new set of FAPs for the game, not only did they come out with this cool mission that you can do every 7 days to get the blueprint and then craft them yourself, but they gave them these really good skill increase bonus periods because they know that Paramedic is hard to level, but then they also gave them unique buffs. So with the MK1, the buff is it increases your reload speed by 10% for 8 seconds. Now ideally, this is not a FAP that you want to use on yourself. Ideally, this is a FAP you want to use on other people if you're a healer for hire. Reason being is if you use it on yourself, you don't get the full increased reload speed for the full 8 seconds. By the time you equip the FAP, use the FAP, then unequip the FAP, you actually get more like 4.5 to 5 seconds instead of the full 8. But if you're using this as a healer for hire, if this is a FAP that you're using on somebody else and they're paying you to FAP them, then every time you FAP them, not only are you going to be healing them for an interval of 37.5 to 50, but they're going to get increased reload speed by 10% for 8 seconds. So you FAP them, they get 10% increased reload speed. 8 seconds later, you FAP them again, they're going to get another 10% increased reload speed. And as a healer for hire, if you're out there FAPing people, this is a great way to sell your services to say, hey, not only do I have this FAP that heals you for 37.5 to 50 heals, but I can use it every 2 seconds if need be, but every 8 seconds, it will give you a 10% increased reload speed buff that lasts for 8 seconds. So I can essentially, if you want me to just heal you every 8 seconds continuously, as you're paying me to be a healer for hire, you're essentially getting reload speed out of it too. So not only will you be healing, but if you want me to do it continuously, you're essentially just getting me to give you an increased reload speed buff of 10%. So would you rather use reload pills, or would you rather pay me to be your healer for hire, give you that increased reload speed, and then you get healing on top of it? And truth be told, they can do both. They can use reload pills and be having you FAP them and be getting that reload speed out of it. So this is a great selling point if you're a low-level healer and you're trying to get healer for hire jobs as you're working on getting something like a 2600 mod FAP, or you know, an adjusted restoration chip and better rings and all that. As you're working on upgrading your gear, this is a great FAP to use as a healer for hire, and that is one of the biggest things that I cannot say enough about these FAPs. Now, I've personally used this FAP on myself, and like I said, you still get the reload speed out of it, you still get the heal out of it, you just get a reduced time on the reload speed because of the time it takes you to unequip the item and switch back to a weapon. It's more like 4.5, 5 seconds of reload speed. The other problem with this FAP, if you're using it on yourself, is whenever it kicks in that increased reload speed buff after you use it, it almost makes you use the FAP twice back to back before switching back to a weapon, because the first time you use it you don't have the buff, and then it gives you the buff, and then it's speeding up your reload speed, which includes reloading a tool like a FAP. So it kind of takes some practice to only get one use out of it and then switch to a weapon. But this is the EIR MK1 Limited. Now whenever you get these limited blueprints, the limited blueprint makes the limited FAP. And if we go back to our blueprint over here, we see that if we kill the Chimera, we get the blueprint. It's a limited blueprint, so it's only good for 15 clicks, but like I said, you can stack those. So if you do it multiple weeks, you can stack them to get more clicks. But the limited blueprint also creates a limited item. Now this is important because there have been unlimited versions of these FAPs that have dropped. The EIR MK1 Unlimited has dropped from Sandbore, which is a single maturity mob. I believe it's got 2400 HP, and they're big. They hit like tanks, but it is a very rare drop. There are several of them now in game. I want to say there's like 5 or 6 of them in game last time I checked, and they go for several thousand pet apiece, but it's got the exact same specs as the limited version, only it's an unlimited. Now, there is also an MK2 and an MK3. Obviously, if you do the 3,000 Sterpoes kills, you get the blueprint to make the MK2. If you do the 5,000 Centaur kills, you get the blueprint to make the MK3. The MK3 has a 190 PED TT value. The MK1 has an 80 PED TT value. And the MK3, the Big Daddy, has a learning period of 65 through 75 Paramedic. And that is incredible. I can't even imagine how long it's going to take me to get to level 75 Paramedic. And the reason that's so important is, like I said, Paramedic is incredibly hard to skill. But whenever you hit level 75 Paramedic, and I believe 65 also. Again, we'll have an entire video about the paramedic profession as a whole. But you actually unlock hidden skills that contribute to the paramedic profession, and specifically at level 65 and 75. So again, very, very important that you can use this MK3 starting at level 65. So this is going to be for your Uber players out there. It's going to be a great limited FAP for Ubers. And it's got a learning period of 65 to 75, a massive healing interval of 113.2 through 151 heals per use, 30 uses per minute, so 1 every 2 seconds. But look at these buffs. Increase critical damage by 15% for 8 seconds. Increase critical chance by 1% for 8 seconds. So every time you use this FAP, you're going to get an 8-second buff that gives you an increased 1% critical chance, an increased 1% chance of landing a critical hit. And then for that same 8 seconds, if you do land a critical hit, it's going to be 15% larger than normal. That's huge, because these buffs go hand in hand. It's increasing your chance to land the crit, and if you land the crit, it's also going to make it 15% bigger. So again, this is something that would be ideal for a healer for hire, because you want the person that you're healing to get the full benefit, the full 8 seconds, to get that critical chance of 1% and that increased critical damage output of 15%. And if you're having to switch to your weapon, you're going to lose a little bit of time off of that 8 seconds. But even if you're using this FAP on yourself, this is still an amazing limited FAP to use on yourself, but even better if you're using it as a healer for hire. Now, I did not have the ability to find the link for the MK2 for the video. The MK2 has a different heal interval, obviously, a different level interval, obviously, but still a great FAP, and the buff on it is it increases the critical damage. It just doesn't give you the increased critical chance, but a great FAP nonetheless. Now, there have been MK2 and MK3 unlimiteds that have dropped in game. The MK3, I believe, dropped from Zeus. It might have been the MK2. One of the two dropped from Zeus. I don't remember what the third one dropped from, but one of the two, it might have been the MK2. Anyway, it dropped from Zeus in ancient Greece. So I can't remember off the top of my head, and I wish I could, but I know that the unlimited MK1 drops from Sandbor, and one of the FAPs drops the unlimited version from Zeus. Obviously, very, very rare loots. Obviously, very, very, very valuable. But I'm really not even impressed with the unlimited versions. I'm glad they make them, because we need more unlimited FAPs like that in game. But what really impresses me is the fact that these are limited blueprints for limited items, because the way these are designed to help you skill Paramedic is absolutely unreal. And Paramedic is so hard to skill that we've really needed FAPs in game for a long time that allow you to more appropriately skill the paramedic profession, and to have FAPs in game like these that have cool buffs on them, like increased reload speed, like increased critical damage, like increased critical damage while increasing your critical chance. That is absolutely huge. So at level 60 paramedic, you unlock scientist, which can also be unlocked at level 60 VSE. And then at level 75, you actually unlock doctor. So if you are an Uber level player that you're not quite to level 75 on your paramedics, and you come get the mission and you knock it out and you kill you some Centaurs and you get the blueprint to make the MK3s, and you start making these MK3s and start using them, not only are you going to get all this, but once you get through that SIB bonus, that skill increase bonus, and get all the way to level 75, you're actually going to unlock a hidden skill called Doctor. Doctor has a 12% effect on your Paramedic Profession, and Doctor as a skill gives you an HP every 800 skill points. So you can imagine how huge that is going to be at higher levels for Ubers. So I cannot say enough about these FAPs, how impressed I am all the way around. Not only with the fact that they made this a repeatable weekly mission, but they don't just give you the FAP, they give you a limited blueprint for 15 clicks, which allows you to then turn around and make the limited FAP. The limited FAPs have these great skill increase learning periods, these great heal intervals, great FAPs, which is something that we've needed in game. FAPs have been notoriously hard to grind up. It's easy to go through the Armatrix line of weapons and just climb the ladder. It's very, very difficult to do that with FAPs. Now we can. Now we can clearly have a roadmap for using the MK1, MK2, MK3 to grind out and climb the ladder of Paramedic. And then on top of that, not only do they have these great skill increase bonus periods, but they're going to help us hit these hidden unlocks in the Paramedic Profession. And then on top of that, they've got these incredible buffs that not only help us as players if we're using them on ourselves, but they help us if we're using these tools as a healer for hire and using these tools with our clients, which is incredible. But then they went a step further and they made an unlimited version that's an uber rare drop from certain mobs here on Next Island. Could they have made it any better? Believe it or not, yes they did. They did. You know why? Because Chimera is the one that you have to hunt for the MK1 blueprint. And you know what a rare loot is from Chimera? Advanced Sinew Adjusted. The first sinew that you need for the upgradable plate mission that we'll be talking about in the next video here on Next Island. So as if they couldn't get it completely right, they did. They literally did. One of the very few times that I've ever seen a development team here in-game hit every nail on the head. Come to Sypherton Gardens, talk to Regina, get all 3 missions. It's a repeatable weekly mission. When you complete these kill count missions, you get the limited blueprint. You craft using the limited blueprint to create the limited FAP. The FAPs are a ladder that you can climb to skill Paramedic. They've got great heal intervals, great uses per minute. Each FAP also has an amazing buff that's with it. You can use these on yourself, or you can use them as a healer for hire. They help you more easily get clients as healer for hire. Then go a step further, there's an unlimited version that drops from certain mobs as an uber rare loot. And then to make it even better, for those of us starting out at the bottom with the EIR MK1, we're hunting Chimera, and Chimera have Advanced Sinew Adjusted as a rare loot, which is what we need to upgrade our plates through the plate upgrade mission. So yes, they have hit this on the head across the board. This is exactly what we needed in game. This is exactly the type of FAPs that we needed. This is exactly the type of FAP ladder that we needed to be able to climb the Paramedic ladder. And I cannot say enough how happy I am and how just blown away I am that the Next Island development team has created this for us, that this system of FAPs now exists in game. And this is why not only am I making this as a video for CRP, because I want to put it out there and make sure that the community knows about it, but this is why I'm also putting it out there to let people know that this is going to be the first one in the new playlist of videos that I'm going to be having for Next Island. So if we actually go to the Next Island auction, we can see that they've got an EIR MK1 for sale here. But if we use the drop down box and go to Calypso, we can see that you can actually get the blueprint on Calypso. So the blueprint itself actually sells. The blueprint itself actually has markup. So you could actually just do the mission then sell the blueprint. And then there's multiple EIR MK1s on auction on Cali right now for sale, and an MK3 on auction for sale right now, because we have migration going on. So right now is a great time to get your hands on these FAPs, a great time to do these missions, a great time to get these blueprints. And I can't say enough how absolutely on the head this is, getting it right all the way across the board. So hats off to the Next Island development team for finally giving us the FAPs that we need, for making the mission, making it repeatable, making the reward the limited blueprint, making it where we can use that blueprint to craft the limited version, making an unlimited version that's a rare drop, and then going a step further by picking mobs that also have uber rare loot that we need for other things here in game. So guys, from Next Island, from Sypherton Gardens, I've been Stevie B, sip sip, smack smack. Y'all know the rest, and a big kudos to the Next Island development team for getting it right across the board with this one. Thank you guys so much for all the hard work you have done to make Next Island a destination planet, and for giving us the FAPs that we have long needed. Please keep up the good work. Guys, head over to EarnPED.com, because when you earn, we earn. That's by far the best way you guys can help to support us. Simply use the links on EarnPED to go to hideout.tv. They will see that you came from EarnPED. They will add us as a redemption option for your hideout points. No additional work needed. Guys, please hit all three of those buttons us YouTubers tell you about. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to be kept up to date every time we post new content. That keeps you up to date with us and with Entropia, and it helps get that YouTube algorithm on our side. And every time you watch one of these videos, please hit that like button to help us combat the haters that are out there hitting that dislike button the moment that we post. Guys, by hitting all three of those buttons, you are making a huge impact. We get more and more messages every single week from people who are seeing these videos on YouTube. It's the first time they've ever heard of Entropia, or maybe they quit playing long ago. They start watching the videos, they get up to date on how to play smarter, not harder, and now they're starting to play. They're starting their journey at Camp Icarus, then North Swamp Camp, then Twin Peaks, then heading out into the galaxy to Next Island, Arcadia, Sign. These are people that are joining societies. They're going to be people that are friends of yours that you're going to interact with. They're going to be people purchasing things off auction, possibly from you. And this is all happening because by you hitting those buttons, YouTube is putting our videos in front of more people who play PC games and real cash economy games, and it is making a massive difference. We're seeing old players come back to the game. We're seeing new players get into the game for the first time, and it's all because of you guys helping to support us by hitting those buttons. So please keep it up. Guys, we'll be back with more for you later this week. Till then, sip, sip, smack, smack. Take care, Stevies.